Hey there, internet friends. Trevor Starkey here with another episode of AC Discovery, my weekly Saturday show where I sit down and talk about anime and/or comics. This week we continue on with my Paper Girls run, Volume 3. This will probably actually be the end of my little Paper Girls mini-series for a little while because it doesn't look like I can get Volume 4 until like April because comics. Grrr. When we last left off, all of our heroes had reunited in some kind of prehistoric era, and we find out here that that's around 11,000 something BCE, and that's pretty much where the entirety of this issue takes place. The girls run into a prehistoric young woman who's got a baby with her, and she's trying to protect her, and she's speaking cave woman kind of thing. And she and the baby are on the run from these men who have very modern-looking symbols kind of drawn on them. One has the kind of ubiquitous power symbol, one has play, and one has stop. And so that's kind of our first hint that, oh, maybe technology has kind of seeped its way back into this era as well as the girl has like tech pieces, components on her necklace, like little hard drives and stuff like that. Also interacting with the girls in this set of issues is Dr. Quanta, I don't know, Brownstein, the woman who has apparently developed the technology for time travel and is our first time traveler who's kind of maybe set off all of this stuff into motion. She also mentions in here that she was born in November of 2016, so she is probably the mother of the old man that we've seen in previous issues. He doesn't really have any kind of appearance here except for in a flash forward where he's got somebody held at gunpoint effectively, but we don't really see much more of him other than that. But based on his little hint in the past that his mother was born in the 2016 era, it would make sense, I think, that this is probably her, because why else would we learn that date effectively? We learn that it looks like her time travel experiments have caused the foldings that are kind of existing all around the place, and have led time to bleed back into these different eras. It looks like it seems that the tech that the young cavewoman girl has and that the men are kind of feeding off of all seem to have come from one of these foldings, gifts from the dream people, as the girl kind of refers to them. We also get a nice little time travel-esque moment where Erin deduces that one of the foldings she's looking at is probably the folding that they pulled the field hockey stick through in the last set of issues, and so she pulls out a pocket knife and writes the "Don't trust Erin, go to the fourth folding" message, and basically puts the field hockey stick in there. So that's a nice little tying the loop back together. We also find out that the little piece of tech that the girls have had that have kind of gotten them to this point is like a prototype tech from around the scientist Canta's era, and she didn't. She recognizes it and basically says, we didn't release that to market because it was, giving people nightmares. And that ties nicely back into the beginning of this whole set of issues. Starts with KJ kind of waking from a nightmare. The girls are all kind of sleeping by campfire, trying to figure out a plan of what to do next, and KJ wakes up from a nightmare. So maybe this is a bit of that tech kind of seeping into their surroundings. There's a lot of fun action throughout this. You have kind of prehistoric beasts coming in. You have the girls all kind of having to try and team up and find a way to beat against the trio of men who are trying to get the baby back. You also have, as I mentioned earlier, KJ touches this fourth dimensional thing, like an inverted pyramid kind of thing with tentacles, and ends up seeing flashes of the future, or what she thinks is the future. And one of those flashes is, as I mentioned earlier, the old guy kind of holding a gun at somebody, and then another one is the scientist woman kind of covered in blood screaming "go," and then you also have an image of her, KJ, and Mac kissing, and we don't necessarily know why. They have a moment where KJ goes after Mac after she falls in the river here, and they end up kind of being split off for a little bit, but neither of them really see themselves as lesbians, so we don't know quite what's going on there, and KJ doesn't realize why she would do that either. But we end up seeing the first of those visions kind of come to pass at the end of this set of issues, where the women kind of encounter the cavemen, and one of the men gets an axe into the scientist lady, and she ends up covered in blood. Not her blood from the axe, although like she is in bad shape with an axe in her back. But KJ basically bashes the guy's head in, and the blood kind of gets spurted onto the scientist woman. So she sends them off to her ship to try and like get back to the future, because it's going to basically go to its origin point automatically after a certain point in time. They get there just like a split second too late, but they do get caught up within like the time vortex travel thing, and so the last little shot we get is one of the girls, Tiffany, I believe. We see her basically in front of like a burning Applebee's, and a police officer comes and says, "Hey, you, like looter, you stop." And basically we find out that Y2K has gone terribly awry here, and there's a giant robot thing, and that's kind of the image we are left. So at least Tiffany now is in an alternate year 2000 where Y2K went terribly bad. So yeah, all in all, a really good episode. I'm really enjoying like all of just kind of the sci-fi / teen drama of Paper Girls in general. Hopefully I remember to come back to this in a few months when I can pick up the volume 4. It's a lot of fun, and I'm interested to see where they keep going with it. So those are my thoughts on Paper Girls volume 3. Let me know what yours are in the comments below. As always, I've been your host, Trevor Starkey from TrevorTrove.com. You can follow me at SnarkyStarkey on Twitter. And until next time, from here at the Trove, treasure your friends.